2, 1. We are live. Hey, podcast listening people. Connor Doobie here with you every single day of the week at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern for the B2B Mentors podcast. Here with you to talk about marketing, sales, business development, relationships, and mindset. Everything that applies to B2B marketing and brand building and building your business. Now, just got off of our mastermind that I run every 2 weeks. Always leave those feeling amped, energized, excited. So shout out to all of my mastermind attendees today. It was a great time connecting, learning from one another, getting to get behind the scenes insight from incredibly powerful B2B marketers. And as you may have seen, this past Wednesday, I actually ran a free training, kind of a webinar / free training, my first time on LinkedIn. So I actually ran the webinar entirely on LinkedIn event page, have some insights to share with you. So tune in, stick around. Let's go. Good to be here with you, my friends. Come on, join on in. I see you. Drop some comments. Make sure you like this post minimally. What you can do is like this, drop a comment. Please make sure you share this out for maybe not even you, but others in your network. And if you like to listen, you want to check out my content on the go, you can find B2B Mentors on all of your favorite podcast apps. We have some amazing guest episodes. We're building our queue up back for, a lot of fantastic guest interviews. So you want to make sure you're subscribed, go leave a review. We're on all your favorite podcast apps and make sure you check that out. So today, on Wednesday, yesterday, today's Thursday, I think, I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore. I ran a webinar totally free, and I did things a little bit differently. I ran a handful of webinars over the years. I don't even really call them webinars, because people are exhausted of webinars and a lot of the time they're just a big sales pitch. I put on a training. This was a free training to kill your top 3 most costly content marketing mistakes. It was a lot of fun. It's like my favorite thing to do, be in a room of people who are watching, learning, engaging, and I get to share some content. So couple things I took away from that experience. First off, if you're kind of wondering what I'm talking about, LinkedIn had recently launched these event pages within the last couple of years. And there's a couple ways to take advantage of these event pages. One of them is to actually create an event page and build it for like a webinar or training. And you funnel everybody from that event page to a link to actually go in and register. And then maybe you actually run the webinar on Zoom or Webinar Jam or whatever your webinar platform is. The other alternative to that is running the webinar directly on LinkedIn, like native on LinkedIn. So the actual video, the streaming, everything is directly in the event page. Now, I hadn't done this before, but as a curious B2B marketer, you've always got to be testing stuff out. So a couple takeaways from that. First, I like the event pages because you can invite 1,000 people to that event page every single week leading up to the event. Now, what I think was pretty, I'll give myself a pat on the back, is I literally came up with this webinar last week. So within 7 days of just putting the webinar page together, building it, and then starting to promote it, which was more like 5 or 6 days, we had about 130. Let's actually look. I'm not entirely sure what the number is. My guess is I think it was right around 130 people that had actually registered or signed up onto the event page to attend. So let's find that out. Here. Yeah, 130, 129 people had signed that up and, registered within, 5 or 6 days of that. So I like that feature because if you have more time and you and your team, right, anybody who's actually on the event page, even if I'm a guest on the event page, I can go out and invite other people to that event page. So if you have influencers, other people on your team, you can really get some good scalable reach just organically through your LinkedIn connections. Now, you can only invite your own direct LinkedIn connections to those event pages, just for visibility. So that I like the nuance of doing it this way, which I thought was pretty interesting as well, is after the event or pre the event or all that good stuff, you can actually go in and download all of the attendees who have signed up on that page. And it actually gives you their email address that's assigned to their LinkedIn profile, as well as their contact, their company, and their position in that company. So pretty neat. Now, you do have to apply a privacy policy to that in order to market to people outside of LinkedIn. They have to agree to that. Now, I'm sure there's people who abuse that. I like to take the moral high ground, and I'm not going to abuse that. So I've got some new emails that are registered, but they have to agree. So you can download the whole list of registrants, and it'll show you if they agreed for further communications or if they did not agree to further communications. Okay. With that, you get the same thing with other webinar platforms. The tricky part of this, the tricky part of doing it outside of LinkedIn with the event page is, of course, getting people to register on a separate landing page, which, you've got to get them from there over there versus here. They're directly there. And when you go live, they're notified with their LinkedIn notifications. The other thing that kind of concerned me about this is it is on LinkedIn. So it's so much easier for people to get distracted, right? Pull up another browser, go look at their LinkedIn messages and kind of take their attention away from where you want it to be, which is on your event that you're putting together. The other thing I noticed, when I've done webinars in the past, by the way, I want to hear from you guys watching this. Are webinars dead? Do they still work? Do people still appreciate them? Is there another format of doing this that you think is much better? Have you planned on using webinars in your company this year? Okay, so I want to hear, drop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on that. So the distraction part is definitely a challenge. It's good that people are there on the platform, but it's, it brings its own complications. Now, in terms of attendance, when I've ran other webinars in the past, almost always I have about a 50% attendance rate, which is pretty high for webinars because I put a great topic together. There's a lot of value packed into it. And I find often too, those people who show up, a large percentage of them stay all the way until the end. So the attrition rate of people jumping off is not as not low, as a lot of other webinars out there. Now, this was not great. Again, this was a test, but it may have to try it again at some point in the future. But with all those people directly on the page, the attendance rate was like less than 20%, which is very, very low considering the number of people who had registered. I was expecting maybe at least 30 or 40%, a little bit higher, but it was under 20%. And if you've done this before too, I'm curious to hear from you. What was your attendance rate? If you've actually done a webinar on LinkedIn, how many people actually showed up? Now, the good thing is my content's entertaining. I have fun with it. It's educational. So of that percentage that did show up, a good chunk of them did stick all the way until the end. So that was pretty impressive. The retention was there, but the show up rate was significantly lower. The other nuance of this is no matter how great you are and how good your webinar topic is, marketing or reminders leading up to the event is crucial. People forget, they get distracted, they have other meetings and seemingly more important priorities that pop up. You want to make your platform a priority, of course, but when you do it this way, there's no real reminders or email reminders or text reminders, which I've used in the past as well, to say, okay, hey, we're an hour away. And then maybe 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes before we actually go live, a little text like, hey, we're opening the room in a few minutes. Are you joining? That helps with the show up rate. And so without that in this feature, I think that's definitely a detriment. I'd like to see LinkedIn build that in at some point in time. Hopefully they do, because I'd be more than willing to try it again if there was a way to attack. And there might be, like, I may be mistaken, but you'd have to like download the list, send them a reminder email. And then the tricky part is if someone registers like the day before or the day of, then there's no automated emails. I'd have to go in there, re-download the list every, so often, and then go get them into like some other drip or reminders. So that's why I like, Webinar Jam, for example, or Zoom webinars where there's there's an immediate email reminder confirming you're registered. There's 24 hours before, there's a couple hours before, there's an hour before, and then there's like 15 minutes before you actually go in to make sure that people show up. With that, the other thing, a lot of webinar platforms allow you to run things like polls. At the end, I had a call to action with a link involved. And I tried to, the only thing you really have to work with is the comments in the webinar feature. So I was sitting there fumbling around trying to drop my link in, and it wasn't very clear. And so I click it, it wouldn't work. I had to refresh the page, and I just sit there looking like a goofball trying to get people something, because timing is everything, right? When you're putting out a call to action, timing is so important to that. Now, something else to consider with this approach, you need a third-party tool. So what I'm streaming this live on right now, which is StreamYard, you either need StreamYard or a tool like Restream. I prefer StreamYard. It's very user-friendly. But between juggling all the tech here, between juggling my PowerPoint, and then also having to juggle what's going on in the LinkedIn, on the actual event page, making sure we're streaming, making sure people can hear me, was a lot of coordination, and also left for kind of an awkward, like a very awkward couple times there at the beginning, some points in the middle, and then definitely at the end as well. I didn't even know if the recording would keep there. So I did find once you record it there, it's on the page unless you go delete it. So you can actually go find the recording right now if you want to venture out and go find the webinar we did yesterday. So it is there. I also do have the recording in StreamYard, which was ideal as well. So trying to think, anything else that, the other tricky part, right? Obviously, when you do a webinar, you want to market that to your list. Your email list is vital. People who have maybe gone to past events, maybe they've met with you in the past, whatever, however they ended up on your email list, you want to be able to market to those people to get them into this webinar. That was tricky as well. It was kind of convoluted and tricky versus people are used to going to like a Zoom link and just filling out their form and then opting in that way, or a landing page. When you have to direct everybody to a LinkedIn page, some of them may not even know what their damn LinkedIn password is. So I may have even lost potential registrants because they'd have to log into LinkedIn if they weren't already, or if they're on their mobile device, don't have the LinkedIn app, and then they're there trying to figure out, okay, like, do I register here? Is there a page? So it's not just all there yet. So overall, I'd rate it like 4 out of 10 right now in terms of the best use of your time in doing a webinar or a training or a live event. Now, there's a lot of different nuances. If you're a company with tons and tons of followers, I've seen some very successful live events ran through LinkedIn, or they do a live event and then stream it this way. But in the format that I was doing it, tricky, a lot of moving parts, not exactly what you want to see in terms of results out of something like this. And those are my 2 cents. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Share this if you think someone else in your network would find value out of this. And if you want to check out the webinar, send me a DM. I will send you the link for it. Let's see here. We did our mastermind today. I'm trying to think, what else do I need to plug? Did our mastermind today. If you want to attend the next session and get around a group of high-level marketers, fractional CMOs, CMOs, executives, business celebrities. Someone asked me the other day, like, what's a business celebrity? Well, business celebrity is someone who's like a celebrity in their industry. They're well known. They're not like a famous actor, but they have either like a book they've published and they're very famous because of that book in their industry. So that's what I mean by business and business celebrities. And if you want to meet people like this, if you want to meet like my guests that I've had on the podcast before, and you want to actually get to know them, you want them to mentor you, you want to learn from them, you want to connect, build a relationship, do business, come check out our free B2B Mentors Marketing Mastermind, activeblogs.com/live event, activeblogs.com/live event. With that, appreciate you all. I will see you again tomorrow, 5:30, same time every day of the week, 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern. Much love to you. Make it great, and I'll see you on the other side.